Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Today I bring you a video on the best Fulgur Anjanath Weapons guide, the Critical Thunder meta, as we analyze the new subspecies of Season 6, as the Fulgur Anjanath Weapons are Thunder Weapons. Now here's something really interesting about them. The Fulgur weapons carry positive or negative affinity depending on the weapon type, making them incredibly unique. And as for the list of Fulgur Anjanath weapons, here they are. We have the Sword and Shield, which is the Donner Seeger, the Hammer, which is the Grinding Fulgur, the Great Sword, which is the Donner Zon, the Longsword, which is the Gnashing Fulgur, the Dual Blades, which is the Fulguring Tornado, that's a funny name, but cool, the Switch Axe, which is the Donner Bell, the Gun Lance, which is the Ending Fulgur, probably the coolest nade out of this bunch, the Hunting Horn, which is the Fulguring Horn, very interesting, and the Bow, which is the Fulguring Bow, also very interesting, the Light Bowgun, which is the Fulgur Shot, and the Heavy Bowgun, which is the Donner Canone. That's actually a pretty cool name. And if you're wondering about the stats and what you need to forge these, well, we're going to go over them. As the Fulgur Anjanath weapons are Thunder Elemental, with the base raw attack being 342, and the bowguns are 354. And the base elemental attack being 230, while the bowguns are 294. And the base affinity is positive 10%, while the bowguns are negative 40%. As you max out, the Fulgur Anjanath weapons will actually either come even, or for the bowguns, elemental will come out higher than the raw. And if you want to forge them, well, here you go. You need 8 Monster Bow Mediums, which are rarity 2, 4 Fulgur Anjanath Fangs, which are rarity 1, 2 Fulgur Anjanath Nose Bones, which are rarity 3, and 2 Fulgur Anjanath Prime Scales, which are rarity 4. In addition, you'll need 1500 Seni. Alright, if you cease to max out these powerful Thunder weapons, here we are at grade 10.5. The Elemental will still be Thunder, of course, with the max raw attack being 1434, while the bowguns are 1442. In addition, the max Elemental attack is going to be 1434, while the bowguns are 1588. Max affinity is 20%, and the bowguns are negative 40%. Like I mentioned before, Fulgur Anjanath, they're even or a high Elemental for the bowguns. In addition, if you're going to max these out, unfortunately, they do have their own unique rarity 6. The Fulgur Anjanath Plate. This makes it really interesting because this is the first subspecies with its own unique, plate thing. I don't count Silver and Gold Rathalos because technically those are rare species, rare metal species, so they're kind of different. But in addition, you'll need 25 Rep and Refined parts and 423,500 Zeni. And you're going to also need materials from the original Anjanath. And from personal experience, if you're doubling rarity 6s, it's going to take you about 500 plus Fulgur Anjanath if you're lucky, not just because of the rarity 6s, but also the rest of the materials you need to get in order to max them out. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the data! You know, if you can't read data, then don't act like you're an expert. But if you can read data, you're amazing, and this is what you should look at. Here we look at the top Thunder monster types as of Season 6 when it comes to melee. And as you see per the data, of course, Corinne is the strongest. It's an Elder Dragon. They're typically the strongest overall. However, Fulgur Anjanath barely loses to Corinne by about 2%. As far as just the base damage goes. In all honesty, all the top weapons are pretty close to each other in terms of power. Seriously, if you look at Zenogre and compare it to everything else, like a 5% difference, you hardly will notice anything. Honestly, if you already have one of these mad Thunder monsters built, no need for you to shift unless you really want that sweet Critical Thunder meta. Alright, now that we covered the melee weapons, we have the ranged weapons, starting off with the bowguns. Now, as you see, the bowguns are very interesting because they're different. We're looking at the top Thunder bowgun types as of Season 6, and as you see, the data is relatively the same when you put them together, with reload speed and recoil down 3. However, I did give Critical Ferocity to the Fulgur Anjanath weapons, as they do have offensive skills. But if you put them out together, the Fulgur Anjanath has Critical Ferocity, which bumps its power up a little bit. And to be honest, outside of the Corinne bowguns, which are status elemental weapons, which are completely different, out of the top bowguns are so close, you'll notice the difference in terms of damage. Of course, with the paralysis ammo that it provides for the Corinne weapons, that's pretty dang good on top of it, which makes them pretty dang overpowered compared to the rest. But this is just damage comparison wise, and the Fulgur Anjanath weapons are pretty dang powerful. But again, if you look at all the top bowguns, 5%, hardly, less than 5%, or even 4, hardly a difference that you will notice. But wait, there's more. There is one more ranged weapon, which is the bow. And here's the bow damage comparison. And there's only 3 of them. Sadly, Kirin doesn't have a bow. But as we see per the data, Fulgur Anjanath is the strongest. The only problem is for Fulgur Anjanath, it's not a super weapon. So it does not have a charge rated damage 4. So I wouldn't focus on the bow personally if you're trying to go after a bow here. It's still good, but taking into consideration, again, that's not a super weapon. There's going to be something out there. The Thunder Super Bow will come, and it's not going to be this round, unfortunately. Moving on, now that we went over all of the ranged weapon damage, well, here's the ammo type. So we're going to compare them all as we take a look at the Fulgur Anjanath ammo sets from the light bowgun, the heavy bowgun, and the bow. And the thing about it is they're all really spread. Light bowgun has spread, and Thunder Gombo are thunder ammo, and the HBG has this similar thing, but it's a pierce and a spread thunder ammo combo. So it's very weird. Not really weird. Sadly, since the Fulgur Anjanath isn't a Thunder Super Weapon, it's not worth investing into as far as the bow because of its spread ammo type. Spread means you have to be up close and personal. The whole point of ranged weapons being so good is the fact that you get to stay away from the monster and eliminating all of its close range attacks, or if not most of them. Because of this, unfortunately with spread, not saying spread is bad, it's just with this, you just have to be really skilled if you're going to use this. Otherwise, you're going to get hit in the face, and you have to use your healing items. In addition, we have Fulgur Anjanath other things like Phials and shelling. Here we analyze the switch axis Phials and gunline shelling for the Fulgur Anjanath weapons. For the Fulgur Anjanath switch axe, bleh, that was a tongue twister from hell. The switch axe has power Phials to increase damage, while the Fulgur Anjanath gunlines has wide shelling, so it's not the best to invest in. Wide is for your regular shells. It doesn't do anything good for like burst fire or your worm stake shot, etc. Long is the best because of the charge shelling style, as much as I hate it. But here it is. This is what you got. So if you're looking for the Fulgur Anjanath Gun Lancer, it's really not worth it. Switch axe, yeah, it just really depends on what your playstyle is. But again, for the Gun Lance, don't do it. Alright, and last but not least, the last weapon we'll be looking into is the Hunting Horn. Rejoice, you musical hammer destroyer thingies. Users, Fulgur Anjanath has a Hunting Horn, and here we take a look at it and its melody. As we see here, you have defense up, evasion distance up, and sonic wave. Sonic wave is the most offensive one, but it has a great blend of offense and defense. Evasion distance up is pretty legit. It's literally a free, free evade extender times 2. And defense up, as much as I hate defense up, here's the thing. It pairs well if you're trying to preserve HP if you do get hit and use Vital Thunder, because Vital Thunder is measured by your remaining HP. So it does work for that combination. So I don't completely hate on defense up because this does have a purpose. But it is absolutely amazing and something to look forward to if you want a Thunder Hunting Horn. And last but not least, we take a look at the Fulgur Anjanath weapon skills, because it actually has 2, depending on which weapon type you use. Most of the weapon types will actually have critical element. Of course, critical element, as you know, is extremely powerful. Along with the bowguns, which have critical ferocity, which makes the Fulgur Anjanath weapons really unique. The thing about critical ferocity is that you kind of need your negative affinity to be super high, but the thing is, the Fulgur Anjanath weapons, with negative 40, that is ridiculously high. So it totally works out to where you can make these incredibly powerful, as far as the bowgun goes, as a negative thunder affinity, like the Glavinus ones for fire, but these are actually really good. If you put those onto consideration, the Fulgur Anjanath Thunder weapons have the strongest offensive skills so far out of all the Thunder weapons. With critical element and critical ferocity, it's the best as far as offense. So these weapons, if you don't have a Thunder weapon yet, unless you really, really want another Thunder weapon, these are worth looking into and investing into. And this brings us to the overall analysis on the Fulgur Anjanath weapons. So if you look at them actually overall, considering the skill, etc., factor everything in, they are the strongest Thunder Elemental weapons as of right now. However, if you already have a max Thunder weapon, you don't need to replace it with a Fulgur Anjanath weapon. You really don't. Again, there is no need to invest in this if you already have a max Thunder weapon. Especially like Tobi, Kadachi, like style changes, etc. With all of that, if you already have that, you don't need this. The percentages are very minimal here and there. If you really are a meta slave and you want it, you can get it. but because Thunder is so flexible, and like I mentioned, the way Monster Hunter now operates, it's really hard to get a max weapon. For those of you that, have an idea what I'm talking about. Plus, the bow isn't a super bow, so I'm not going to go after it anyways. And it has unique rarity 6. In other words, you're going to have to do a whole lot of work if you want to get these maxed out. And if you already have one, why not? But that's only if you have the resources to burn. Hopefully this video helps you decide what Fulgur Anjanath weapon you want to build. Even if you are building the weapon, the armor is definitely worth looking into. I'm going to have that analysis out soon, but yeah, the armor is pretty dang sweet. So again, not the weapon, look at the armor, especially for your Thunder builds. With that being said, please do a huge favor. Like, subscribe, and comment for the YouTube algorithm. I'll definitely be going after it during the ticketed day just so that I can get all my armor pieces put together. But I already have a max and ogre weapon, and I'm looking for a Thunder super bow. There's no Thunder super bow, I'm not going after this and going ham on it. Even though going ham against like 200 or so of these things is still pretty dang hard. With that being said, please do me a huge favor. Like, subscribe, and comment for the YouTube algorithm. Good luck on your Fulgur Anjanath grinds. I hope you have a whole lot of fun, and may your rarity 6 drops be very plentiful and not be extinct. Like, having ridiculously bad luck. Good luck on your grinds, and I will see y'all on the next video.